Hey everybody, Shazam. Now if you say that with a southern accent, you're doing a Gomer Pyle impersonation, but if not, you are transforming into the world's mightiest mortal. In 1981, Filmation produced the Kids Superpower Hour with Shazam, a 38-episode series that included 12 episodes of Shazam, with an exclamation point, very important. Of course, this was based on the old Captain Marvel comic books. Shazam was paired with Hero High, which apparently was meant to be a vehicle for the Archie characters, but the Archie-Filmation relationship was terminated before production started, so they had to go with some original characters. Now, of course, before Filmation adapted the now DC-owned Captain Marvel into a cartoon, they produced a Shazam live-action series from 1974 to 1976 that paired episodes starring the Big Red Cheese with episodes of Isis, later The Secrets of Isis, in syndication. And of course, Isis would later show up on Filmation's Freedom Force cartoon, and she would do a guest spot on Hero High, just as the Hero High characters did a guest spot in the 12th and final episode of Shazam. When Filmation had a license, they didn't mess around. They got everything out of it that they possibly could. Now, each episode of Shazam opens with a rundown of the concept. This is Billy Batson, star reporter for television station WIZZ. Now, I'm pretty sure, because Captain Marvel originated in Wiz Comics, WHIZ, I think the radio station that he was a reporter for was WHIZ. Here it is WIZZ. He has been picked by the aged wizard Shazam to carry on the wizard's lifelong crusade against crime and the forces of evil. When Billy speaks the wizard's name, Shazam, Billy becomes Captain Marvel, mighty champion. Now, the voices of Billy and Cap come from Burr Middleton. Captain Marvel combines the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury, which spells Shazam. Billy's twin sister Mary has also been granted superpowers when she speaks the name Shazam. Mary Batson becomes Mary Marvel, combining the grace of Selena with the qualities of other goddesses. Now, Mary's voice is provided by Dawn Jeffery. Didn't have a lot that she did, but I think she did a fantastic job of the voice in this. It just sounds right. And Burr Middleton did really well with Billy and with Cap as well. The third member of the mighty trio is their friend, plain newsboy Freddie Freeman. And honestly, I had to listen a couple times to make sure that they didn't say lame instead of plain. And I'm actually still not positive. That term might have still been used at the time for somebody who had trouble getting around. But anyway, I think it was plain newsboy Freddie Freeman. When he speaks the name of his idol, Captain Marvel, Freddie becomes the powerful Captain Marvel Jr. Freddie and Captain Marvel Jr. are voiced by Barry Gordon, the original voice of Donatello and Bebop in the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. Started out as a child actor in the business. Now note that for the transformation scenes, the characters' feet are off screen. This probably made it easier to put different backgrounds behind them so they could reuse this. Filmation stayed in business as long as they did by being very thrifty with their animation. Sometimes they get made fun of for that, but the fact of the matter is they were just about the last cartoon studio that actually was animated in the United States. They gave a lot of animators and a lot of animation directors their start in the business. So it actually did make good sense. Well, together, they are the Mighty Marvels, dedicated to fighting evil throughout the universe. So you get a pretty good roundup of the characters, and it seems like it keeps pretty well with the comic book lore. But also, remember I mentioned thriftiness, it fills a minute and a half of each 20-minute episode. So again, a little filler helps. It means you don't have to create as much animation for the rest of it. Now, of course, Captain Marvel was the creation of C.C. Beck and Bill Parker, and he first appeared in Wiz Comics #2 in February of 1940. The character was a pretty quick success and a tough competitor for Superman, which ultimately led to a bit of lawfare and DC eventually owning the Fawcett Comics characters. Captain Marvel even made it into live action before the Big Blue Boy Scout, appearing in The Adventures of Captain Marvel in 1941, which, by the way, I reviewed on this channel quite a time ago, maybe a couple years ago. God, I've been around for a little while now. Now, part of the joy of this cartoon for me is how close it sticks to the look and the spirit of the Captain Marvel comics from the 1940s and 50s. Filmation wasn't giving you their version of the characters. They did their best, in my opinion, to really get them right and give you the characters as they were. Captain Marvel had a lot of appeal to kids. It has a cartooniness that sets it apart from most of DC's fare and honestly Marvel's as well, with characters like Talkie Tawny and Mr. Mind that didn't maybe fit all that well into the DC universe once DC got control of the characters. It took them some time to meld them into that DC universe. There's a sort of joy and innocence to the Captain Marvel comics. Captain Marvel acquired a really great collection of side characters and villains over time, and most of them do appear in this cartoon. For example, you have Uncle Dudley, caretaker of the Marvel orphans, who sometimes slips into a costume and poses as Uncle Marvel. Yeah, he doesn't have any superpowers. There's no lightning. He just ducks away, says Shazam, puts on his costume, and he's now Uncle Marvel. He is voiced in this cartoon by the great Alan Oppenheimer, doing kind of a W.C. Fields impression. And Oppenheimer, yes, the great Lord of Memes, Skeletor. He also does the voice of Mr. Talkie Tawny, the tiger, and you see what I mean by not fitting in necessarily all that well with the DC universe. And it's kind of fun actually hearing him in the role, since he essentially sounds like Cringer from Masters of the Universe. It's especially great when you add in Mr. Mind, the genius evil worm, voiced by Lou Scheimer, since he sounds basically like an evil Orko. He gets 2 episodes in the series. One, a team up with Sivana, the other involving him taking control of all the worms and undermining Fawcett City. Alan Oppenheimer also does the voice of Dr. Sivana, and yes, his messed up kids appear in an episode as well, along with a giant robot, which is always nice. Black Adam is voiced by Lou Scheimer, returns from his 5,000-year absence from Earth to wreak havoc. Iback, also voiced by Lou Scheimer. Remember the thriftiness, the saving money? Yeah. He appears with the Hiss Men in a plot to make reptiles the dominant life form on Earth. Mr. Atom, voiced by Alan Oppenheimer, the deadly atomic robot, has an army of robots to take over the world. Aunt Minerva, who has designs on Uncle Dudley. Dr. Alarog, the genius gorilla inventor who tries to make animals the masters of humanity by messing with Captain Marvel's powers. In this shot, he looks like he's doing stand-up comedy in prison. I think he precedes Gorilla Grodd as a evil genius talking gorilla. Not positive. I'm pretty sure he does. Grodd came in the 60s. I think he was around before that. Now, the one guy we don't get in the cartoon is that guy, which is probably for the best in a kid's cartoon in the 1980s. I'd put the threat level, maturity level of the villains at about the same as Filmation's Masters of the Universe cartoon or the very comparable Super Friends cartoon from Hanna-Barbera. These would still be safe today for kids to watch. It's not too intense. It's certainly not violent. And they do, by the way, have a crossover episode, like I said, with Hero High, where they tangle with an original villainous alien called Starmaster. Really is pretty awesome looking when you get down to it. He's taking control of the sun and he's encasing the world in ice, but good design. Filmation often had some really cool designs for monsters, for villains, for heroes in their cartoons. They kind of punched above their weight in that regard, in my opinion. Now, when I review these old cartoons, I usually mention that they are not, really necessarily engrossing for adults who do not have a nostalgic connection to the material. I think that's true with this cartoon. If you do have a nostalgia for the cartoon, I don't think it will disappoint you. It's held up pretty well as a, fun action comedy cartoon for little kids. If you're a fan of Captain Marvel comics, I think you'll find that it has the same charm as those old comic books. The episodes were written variously by Fred Ladd, Dennis O'Flaherty, Paul Dini, obviously best known for Batman, the animated series, and Tom Rueger of Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs fame. I think they did a nice job translating the comic book into cartoon form. It's a pretty accurate adaptation. They also kept the cartoons from being too formulaic. I mean, they're not groundbreaking or anything like that, but they find nice ways of introducing the villains and their schemes and of finding ways for the good guys to win without it just resorting to simple violence. At a minimum, you do get a whole lot of holy molies, and that is absolutely essential to getting the Captain Marvel character correct. For me, Shazam is worth checking out, again, for folks who are big fans of Captain Marvel, and I'm sure most of those people have probably seen this already, or just folks with an interest in comic book history. It's a cute cartoon that I think little kids would still probably enjoy, and it wouldn't, I don't think, drive parents nuts having to watch it with them, especially if they're fans of superheroes. As with most of Filmation's output from this period, it really does its best to pass good lessons along during all the adventure and comedy and all that good stuff. So I think it's a real positive cartoon, would be great for kids, and it was fun. I'd never seen it before. I enjoyed it for what it was, obviously, again, meant for little kids, not for 50-year-old men, but, you try to watch it through the eyes maybe of a kid, and I'm a comic book fan and a Captain Marvel fan, and I definitely liked it from that standpoint. Let me know what you think in the comments about Filmation's Shazam. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, maybe share with a friend. That would be very, very cool. In the meantime, though, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. Watch some Shazam, read some Captain Marvel. Go ahead. It's okay. I know it's sort of corny. It's maybe a little bit cheesy, but it's good for the soul. I will see you again, hopefully soon, in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.